Today we need to clean up all the parts for the rear derailleur and then get started on the rear wheel. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. We'll get started by just wiping down some of the easier parts. This is I'm calling it the cage. I'm sure that's not the right term for it, but we know what it is. And then these are the little discs that go on either side of the gear wheels inside that cage. And we're gonna just clean the inside of those with a Q-tip. And maybe clean them out a little bit with the pick or whatever this dental tool is. Try my actual dental pick. Got this about as clean as I'm going to get it. By the way, this is a model derailleur. G as in George, T as in Tom 100. I have to look and see what the model was on the Continental that we did last season. Because as I said before, they're a bit different in the way they're constructed, so I assume they're different models. We're going to have to let this dry for a while. And the next thing we're going to do is take some of these other parts, little bolts and whatnot, and hit them up on the wire wheel. So we've got everything cleaned up now, but like I said, I'm going to let this main component sit for a while and dry out, and then I'm going to put some oil on each of the springs, and then we'll put it back together. To get started on the rear wheel, we're going to have to take the freewheel off, and to do that we need to take the lug nut off, this washer, and that washer, and this spacer. The cone nut, lock washer and cone nut are down at the bottom there. So again, this is the drive side, so everything tightens this way. So to undo it, you got to reverse it and go the other way. Unfortunately, it's a freewheel. So what you have to do is, hopefully it's coming through on the camera, there's some splines on a piece down there that does not rotate. And you need a little tool like this, and there are different sizes for different spline patterns. But you put that in there, and now you can get a wrench on that and turn that, but an easier way is on the vise. Stick with me, this is a little confusing. So I'm going to turn this lefty-loosey, but it's going to be on the vise, so I actually have to turn the wheel to the right. But the wheel's going to be upside down, so I am actually going to turn it to the left. So I'm going to open up the vise, put the tool in there, get this seated down in there, and now I need to turn it to the left. And hopefully not turn the vise with it. There it goes. And off comes the freewheel. So we'll take the spoke guard off, clean that up later. And make sure all the air is out of the tire. Get our tire wrenches out. got done taking the spoke nipples off, because I noticed besides this broken spoke, I noticed that six specifically, spokes were bent pretty severely down near where the threaded part is. And normally, if it's bent a little bit, I can, in the center, I can get it back, and they flex anyway. So when you tighten up the spoke nipples to true the wheel, it straightens itself out. But these are bent pretty severely, and I probably should just go ahead and replace those. So I'm going to measure them with my spoke gauge here from Park Tool. Spoke length gauge, it's called. This is a handy little item. It also has the ball bearing sizes on it, all, let's see, 9 of them. 9 different sizes, and then there's a general ruler too. So you can either do it in inches or in millimeters. Obviously inches on this side, millimeters on this side. And I'll just take one of the relatively straight ones. You put it in this hole here and then measure it, and it is just shy of 11 inches. Well, that was fun. I was filming for about 10 minutes explaining a lot of different things, and apparently I had accidentally turned the camera off. So the first thing I did was, before I got the lock washers off, but I haven't touched the cones yet, I did measure the offset here for the drive side where the freewheel is, and that's about 1.5 inches, actually 1 5/8 inches, and I wrote that down. So our last steps for the day are going to be to put these items in the solvent, let them soak, and then we're gonna clean, or start to clean, the freewheel. And it is because somebody put grease on this chain instead of oil, it's really dirty. To do this, we've got a toothbrush, we've got a metal brush, we've got our dental tool, and then we've got the Park Tool Gear Clean GSC1, which is nice. It has this serrated arc for getting in between here and loosening up the grease, and then a thin brush which allows you to get in there. I'm going to take this retaining ring off here so that I can get a little bit more access. You can take these apart by, if you can see the 3 little indentations in this ring. This is a lock ring, and it has to go backwards. You need to get that freewheel removal tool, put it in there so that you can get it on the vise, and it will lock it back this way, and then that will allow you to knock this lock ring off. They're really hard to get off, and if you are successful and you take this apart, there is a lot of very tiny ball bearings inside of this piece of equipment, and it's in my experience, it's more worry than it's worth, so I don't do it. Without a doubt, the dirtiest, greasiest freewheel I've ever worked on. I had to turn the camera off because it was just gonna be the longest video ever. But I finally got into all the crevices and got it cleaned up. So put the spacer ring back on, which we didn't even see until we started cleaning it. And then we put this on, and then there's this retaining ring which goes in and then clamps down. Next time we're going to clean up the wheel spokes, the spoke guard, and put everything back together for the rear wheel, and then also put the derailleur back together. And that will wrap it up for all the episodes until the finale, where we put the entire bike back together. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you next time on Featherstone Bicycles.